Hello. We're going to come up with a topic. Eventually. And yes, it's going to be either super invasive or completely uninvasive.
Where's my gnome gone? Huh.
So yeah, I think about
How did you not see me? I just hope that broke your goddamn neck.
Alright, so got a nice car. Ready to go flying.
Oh, bird ingestion. Fuck me.
Damn it. Oh, fucked up the car.
What the? Oh!
Oh, God! You food?
This is a fine automobile. Oh, shit.
Shit! Can't believe this shit.
Alright, so thinking about a lot of stuff. Hold on, let me close this Dizor.
What the fuck?
Alright.
I'm making a personal injury claim.
Yay. Let's see, what are we gonna come up with? We'll think about something. What's... I mean... Let's see. There we go. Oh yeah, boy. Gotta move those things.
For fuck's sakes. Ah! Oh, I am so sorry.
Damn. What?
Yeah. I drank a couple of beers. It's really good.
Citizens report
Oh, man.
480 on Picture Perfect Drive.
Great.
It's feeling good.
Police.
It's way too hot in here.
Sorry, lady.
You're in the area. Copy that.
Excuse me, my car. Well, I'll be fucked. That was close. How did you not fucking see me?
Alright, I gotta get a better car.
Suspect located. We're moving in.
Need it.
We have a criminal resisting arrest on Normandy Drive.
Fucking move!
Alright, so I'm gonna come up with a topic eventually. It's a bit about mental health.
You fucking asshole!
Nice. I want to talk about stuff sometimes. Like I like to interact with people. I do seem and want to be sociable, but at the same time I want to be careful, you know? And that's I think where the introvert side of me starts to show. Is I don't want to be put into situations that I don't want to be put into, you know?
Fuck, dude. Have to stop doing that.
That reminds me about stuff. Not being one to put into certain situations. That makes me think about certain conversations, basically. Like, whatever conversation you get yourself into that you don't want to be put into. Oh my gosh. I think most times I've wanted to most times I wanted to
Lucky miss.
most times I wanted to I'd say be a part of somebody's life in a certain way. I try to be there we go. Awesome. I'm kind of buzzed, but it's okay. Not kind of buzzed, but I'm just like I'm relaxed, basically. Say something positive about mental health, because I've been talking about people too much. It's annoying. Talking about things in spaces that you're not a part of. Talking about things you have experience over, like. Okay, I got it. I know what to do. Yeah, that's what I do. I want to make big changes in my life. And I don't want to be hindered. You know that stuff that people say, like, oh, that stuff's gonna happen, like the stuff that people expect to happen, like
Hey, pal.
Officers report.
yeah.
East Joshua Road.
MOS in pursuit of suspect in vehicle.
Roger.
I want to make stuff happen in my life. I don't need any kind of reinforcement. Nice.
Assistance required.
I don't need any kind of reinforcement.
During Sonora wind farm.
or validation.
Backup required in North Davis Court. Out of 1, dispatch to Davis Court. Proceeding vehicle. We've got 417 east of
I just wish that people would understand that
we have a 1099 south of backup required in North Town. Dispatch the SWAT unit from 510.
that I don't need their shit. I don't need their 2 cents. I don't need them telling me how to think. I don't need them telling me how to feel. And I definitely don't need their money. And that's only on my creative side. As far as me getting a job and actually doing something with myself, I'm the only reason I don't is because I've been so long without.
Bullshit.
It's not bullshit, Trevor. It's not.
We're swapping insurance details.
I've seen a lot of stuff. I've seen a lot of people thrown to the wolves sometimes. Only for the simple fact is that I try to think about where my life fits into something. And sometimes I can't see it.
Citizens report a 503 east of
Maybe that's what this episode is about.
Shopping Promenade.
Maybe that's what this little installment is.
Whoa!
Maybe it's about I never did well when it came to stuff that I really wanted. Damn it. And then I had to put something on to a video game or a comic book, like to project myself and what I would do in that situation. I think that's the reason why I remained an introvert for so long. And then my social skills basically came from video games sometimes. It's hard to look through someone. It's hard to see through someone telling you something and you wanting to hear the truth so badly. And you'd wish and you'd hope that
She's gonna kill me.
that people would realize the truth about you.
You catch that? Out you get, buddy. Yeah. For fuck's sakes. We're about to do us a dance.
I think the most I've ever pondered about that stuff
Oh my god. Oh no. I'm calling the goddamn.
Go back to your home. Lucky miss.
I think the most I've ever pondered about that stuff was how I felt about a certain situation and how I wanted to feel about a certain situation. People have to realize their responsibility in things. And also, in the same sense, is if people are given a certain sense of responsibility, where will they go with it? Where will they be 5 to 10 years down the line? Oh my gosh, are you serious? Where will they be 5 to 10 years down the line? And that's what I think about constantly, every single time I pick up a pen to do any work. Or pick up myself to do any work. I think the most I've realized about all this stuff all the stuff that I think about inside my own head. Is that I don't always need anyone telling me what something to do. Like when I'm doing something like really important, like when I'm thinking I've actually thought about this stuff constantly. And it's not to say that I don't respect anyone else's ideas or anything like that, or think that other people themselves may have 2 cents they want to put in on something. And that's cool. That's awesome. I don't have anything against that. I don't have anything against people who themselves want to contribute to an idea that through their connection would probably be able to get to more people. Or be able to understand more people's ways of culture, I guess. I'm not sure, but awesome. That's really great. I just stood up. That was funny. I guess what I'm trying to say is, I've tried so hard to be able to be independent sometimes. And when I was independent, someone usually latched onto me and then didn't seep the energy out of me, but broke my motivation. Or what I wanted my motivation to be. And not to say that it was their fault that I did anything or didn't do anything. But sometimes it really was. Like after I work 8 hours standing up constantly, I don't want to come home and babysit someone. Even though I had great times, and I did have great times, I don't want to I don't want to be someone's professional. You know? I want to be my own person. And not to say that I'm trying to look in my own directions or something like that, but not to say that actually I am trying to look in my own directions. I'm trying to see what I can do for myself. I'm trying to see what I can make.
Simple tasks. Would you open your fucking eyes?
I think most times what I really wanted to do for myself, how I really wanted to do something for myself, I didn't want people's input. I didn't need people's input. I didn't, but then I still got it. And I think that's what I want for my topic right now. Is how much input is too much input on someone's mental psyche or mental capacities. How much is too much? How much worrying about you literally affects you?
Give me a break.
And how much do you feel that your emotions are really seen? I know that people want to be relatable, and they want to seem relatable because they want people to look at their content and God dang it. It's always like 10 seconds into it when I die. You gotta think about where you come from. You gotta think about where you're gonna be. You gotta think about who you are as a person inside. And that comes into play every single second of the day. Most of the time, I think about where I'm gonna go. I think about what I'm gonna do. Think about what I'm going to do sometimes because... And I think about how I'm going to do it most of the time. Because people don't think that I put so much... And maybe this is just me thinking about what my parents used to do to me. Maybe they thought they didn't think I was experiencing the world like them. Or at all like them. Maybe they thought they could make it better for me. But in actuality, I was literally a part of both of them, you know, at one point.
Trust me, you don't want to carpool with me. You can suck me. Crap. Shit. I call this serving divorce papers.
I used to think that stuff was available for me. I needed to be a part of, or that I wanted to be a part of. Then I started to realize the thoughts that were pulling me down. I started to think about the things that I was actually doing. I started to realize that awesome. I started to realize that I was going to run into a lot of mistakes. Through no fault of my own. Most of the time when I realize these mistakes or these things, and moreover, I really wanted to believe that no matter what, I could still come out of it scot-free, or I could come out of it clean, and just unscathed. I didn't give myself enough credit, and I think that's the reason why. I was never able to do enough for myself.
Well, I'll be fucked.
I'm doing introspective talk right now, and I'm trying to come to an epiphany, I guess. An epiphany that I'm not like a lot of people. Or maybe it's my want to not be like a lot of people, so I can say that I'm independent, or that I'm individualistic. Maybe that independent or not independent, that independent identity, I guess, or that individualistic identity is based on I don't know. Is it based on misconceptions I had when I was younger? Or maybe or congruent misconceptions that I made up inside my own head that made me believe that somehow I was different than another person, or but also in the same way I became myself, or I became what I am today, is the same way that other people would become themselves, or and in some ways I don't see what I'm doing or how I'm doing it. Or in some ways maybe I'm not the only person that has come up with these sort of things. It's like essentially sometimes I see myself in the shoes of a lot of different characters that I write about. And in ways they all kind of congruently have an aspect of what I have or what I've experienced of myself, I guess, or the characters that I've experienced also in the same sense. I guess they all have something in common with what I with what I actually see sometimes. Like in my life or in my around me, I guess. And those characters live on, I guess, through that thing, I guess, through that, like I'll see something like a quality about someone or something like that on a documentary or something like that, or and I'll be like, that's an interesting quality, that's an interesting thing, because like I think the perpetuation though of the theatrical way of like my emotions are always set first, and that's the reason why it's like I'm always individualistic, and that's going to be everything about me, like about that whole thing, I guess. Let me turn this down. I find out through
Good Lord above.
I find out through the biggest detail of stuff in my life that I'm not having a great time. Sometimes I get mad at people, and I think that's the reason why and not to say that I'm violent or anything like that, because I'm not violent by any means. I just have to find a way to mix those things with my characters, with the way that I express myself in a certain sense, to be able to make sure that I'm not engulfed in the world. But in that same sense, be able to recognize the parts and characters of what they actually are, and how they naturally will be, as far as my world and how I make it. That's how I'd say congruent I want to make my world is just to be able to break through the mold of what people call a certain thing and how people say it. It's just like, I know how people believe something is, or how someone speaks in so much honor of what something is, like how they would see a certain character. And that's the reason why I want to make my characters the way that I want to make them. I want to make... But in the same sense,
I told you not to fuck with me.
creating is for me. Like, it's for my mental psyche and mental capacities as a whole. Relaying those characters to paper, I know that of everything and anything will change. But also in the same sense, I realize that just because they're changing doesn't mean they can't say that, keep the same theme.
You lot really were pathetic.
And the same aspects of what I was actually thinking about, the same things of what I was actually trying to get through to someone, can be expressed in a lot of different ways. It's like, yeah, it's my idea, that's the thing that I'm making, but a lot of people are going to see this idea, and a lot of people are going to notice this idea. So how will this idea be able to relate to people who are just walking into the theater, as to people who have seen a trilogy of something that I'd say relays to this message, or relates to this message. Sorry, that relates to, or that relays a certain environment, kind of like when you feel engulfed in an entire story, it's kind of like you're in a whole new world, and it's like the song from Aladdin.
Man.
And